Namaste. Welcome to class. This morning's class, I'd like to focus on Anjaynayasana, which is a lunge, kind of a crescent lunge with a back bend. And so we're going to build ourselves into that today. Anjanaya is Hanuman's mom, and I have a son with a birthday today whose Ishta Devata is Hanuman. So I thought it was very fitting that I woke up thinking about Anjanaya Asana and the mom of Hanuman. So we're going to work into that today. Okay, so it combines back bending, deep hip flexion, and that's where we're going to head. So finding your comfortable seat, spine erect, base firm, solid, relaxed. Bringing the hands into the heart, Anjali, rest your thumbs gently on your sternum. And then let your head bow slightly. Lengthening the back of the neck. Internalizing. With gratitude, we salute all the great yoga masters, past and present. A special joy of thanksgiving for Babaji. With joy, we recognize the excellent wisdom teachings of Yoga and Ayurveda. And with vigor, we dedicate ourselves to self-transforming practice. Every day, think about what you personally need for self-transformation. Usually the first thing that pops in your mind, contemplate it for a moment. And then tuck it away gently down in your heart space to be brought back at the end of class. Exhaling the breath out and a nice inhale to Om. Om. Letting your eyes flutter open. Good, and just taking your arms out for a moment, just wave your hands. Just wave your hands out to the side. Good. So letting your elbows just kind of bounce for a moment. Okay. Good. And then both arms are going to come up overhead. Hold on there with the hands. Squeeze the palms up toward the ceiling. Take your arms as close to your ears as is comfortable. Lift up out of your rib cage. Let your shoulders swallow your neck for a moment. Good. Breathe into the chest area. Belly is tucked in. And then when we release our hands in a moment, we're going to take them back behind us, interlace the fingers there. Squeeze the knuckles down toward the floor and open the shoulders. Just opening the shoulders, rhomboids are squeezing in, the shoulder blades are kissing in the back. And then release the arms again. Take the uncomfortable interlace above the head and squeeze the palms again toward the ceiling. Straighten through the elbows, lift up through the ribs. Again, you can squeeze and hide your neck. And then going back down for the uncomfortable interlace there, and squeeze and open the shoulders, open the heart. Good. And then just release and shake it out for a moment. And then making our hip circles. So we're just taking the pelvic basket around the heads of the femurs on either side. And then back in the other direction. Good. And then just take both legs up for a moment. Great bend in the legs for just a moment. Good. And then we're going to take just the left leg for a moment. Take it back behind you as if it were like stringing a bow, and just take it back and forth. Back and forth. Nice and slowly. You can lay down the right leg if you want, but I'm just keeping mine with flexion. Good. And then hold it back as far as is comfortable. And then hold on very gently to the knee and make tiny little circles, just lubricating the head of the femur and the acetabulum. Little tiny circles. Good. And then replace the left leg. Okay. And then the right leg as if it were stringing a bow. Okay, back and forth. And your range of motion may be very different from one side to the next. Your knee is moving as a unit, no torquing, knee stays nice and stable. Good. And then once you're there, just hold on to your knee with your right hand and just little tiny circles, just moving the head of the femur, lubricating the joint. Both directions. Good. And then putting the feet together, just holding into that flexion for a moment. And then lifting up both legs. You can hold on underneath for a moment, just lifting up, finding that right angle, and then flex the feet. So no further than that, just finding that angle. So if we were in a lunge, our feet would be on the floor, our ankles would be stacked underneath our knees, and our quads would be engaged, just like they are now. Flex your toes, pull the toes back towards you. Heels are not close. Big toe knuckles can almost touch, but heels are not close. They're underneath your second and third toe. And then release the leg. Good. And then we're going to slither down onto our belly, but wait, don't go yet. I want you to think about this back bending that we're going to do for a moment. We're going to do it very gradually. And I want you to think about someone picking up a strand of pearls. So the strand of pearls gets picked up from the head and then back down. So I'm not using my hands initially. My arms can be beside me, and I'm picking up the strand of pearls, and I'm lowering the strand of pearls. So one pearl at a time, but starting at the head and then down to the bottom of the sternum, okay? Good. So rest your chin or your forehead on the floor, whichever gives you the most comfort in your neck. Go ahead and engage your toes onto the floor, toenails touching, especially the little toe side. Engage your quadriceps, your knees will lift. Keep your inferior part stable, so everything from the belly button down just staying stable. Pull your belly towards your spine, pull the belly in, and then as you're ready, peel off that string of pearls and lower. You can coordinate the breath however you'd like. You can exhale up and inhale lower. That gives you a little bit more power in your belly to come up. Or you can inhale up and exhale lower. Coordinating your breath with your movement and just moving that string of pearls. Keep the toes pressing into the floor. Keep the knees lifted. Pubic bone and tailbone are headed back towards your ankles. Nothing is pressing into the floor. You're just laying and gravity is helping stabilize you, but you're not pressing anything down. Good. One more. And this time as you come up, just stay up for a moment. Reach through your toenails, reach through the toes. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders for a moment. And then slip out the elbows underneath your shoulders into Sphinx pose. Pull your belly off the floor. Okay, belly's pulled off the floor. Nice and solid, nice and stable. Just looking forward. Not to, your eyes can go up and keep your face looking forward. Relax your gluteus for just a moment and then re-engage them, making sure they're not causing your little toes to come off the floor. Keep your little toenails on the floor. Good, breathe. And then wing out your elbows to the side. Your low ribs will peel off. And then again, like you're laying down the pearls, come down slowly, all the way down, chin or forehead to touch. Reach the hands back behind you, just reaching through the arms. And this time again, peeling up, but take your hands behind you over your sacrum, interlace the fingers and squeeze the knuckles toward the heels. Keep your little toes on the floor. and release. Just the chin. Keep the hands interlaced. Inhale or exhale. And opposite breath, release. You'll have more power if you exhale up and inhale, release. You decide. And release. Release the arms, back of the hands to the floor, palms facing up. Let your legs relax, toes can touch, big toes can touch, heels out to the side. Breathe, relax. Let the gravity take you to the earth. Notice your belly on the floor. Notice you've let go of that tension there. And then bringing our hands underneath our shoulders, curl the toes under, keep your knees solidly on the floor, press up to your knees, a long plank, a varied plank. So get your wrist right underneath your shoulders, you may have to move, and the rest of the body is in a plank. Okay, so our knees are down, but our belly is in, we're nice and strong. Good. And then we're going to continue to bend our knees and take our hips back toward our heels. Just walk your hands back. That deep hip flexion. Keep your ribs off your knees for a minute, off your thighs. Reach forward. Just pull in the belly, pull in everything. Keep that deep flexion at the hip. Good. And then we're going to slither out one more time. So just slither. Belly to the floor, and this time keeping your hands underneath your shoulders. Good. Toenails on the floor. It's so important you have your little toenails on the floor. That stabilizes your hips, stabilizes your low back, pull in your belly, pelvic floor lifts. Hands are right underneath, and I want you to press a tiny, tiny bit into your hands, but not enough to push you very far, just to keep you solid and stable. You're just doing baby lifts. Your low ribs never come off the mat. You're just playing with the pearls, lifting them and lowering them just a little. Good. And then again, curl the toes under. Get the toes curled under. Keep your knees on the floor. Hands are underneath. Press up to that long plank, and this time, bring your knees into table. So find yourself in table. And then from there, go ahead and arch the spine toward the ceiling. Bring yourself through neutral and arch your spine toward the floor. And back into neutral. So finding your pace. One more set. Good. And now we're going to take from right here in table, we're going to slowly bring up the left foot and put it right over by the left hand. Stack the knee right over the ankle. Good. And then keeping your right hand on the floor underneath your right shoulder, just reaching your left arm back, and then open the arm, shoulder, everything out to the left side, and then arm up overhead. We're going to cartwheel it over 2 more times. Twisting, and then as you come back and close it, you're untwisting. Good. And then putting your hands back firmly on the floor, release the left leg. Good. I'm just staying up on my fingertips because it gives me a little bit more height there to bring in my right leg. Same thing, stacking the right knee right over the ankle. Good, ready? And then keeping your left hand, fist, tented fingers, or even a block underneath your left shoulder. Begin to open up to the right side, palm and everything opening to the right side. And then arm cartwheels over. Close off the twist completely. Open. Close off the twist completely. And open. Hips stay super stable. Closing off the twist completely. Good. And now, come back into table. Good. And then we're going to do our lying down twist from there, our threading the needle. Okay? So go ahead and lift out your right arm. Press it to the left hand. Reach it up. Curl your toes under for this one. Let's keep our toes curled under. And then sweep the arm back down and through. Press into the toes. Press into the knees. Keep everything stable. And then left arm reaching up. Just reach back and see if you can touch a little bit of your right thigh. And open the shoulders. Press into the feet evenly. Hips are even. Legs are even. Just the twist is only in the thoracic spine. And then the arm can reach up to the ceiling. Again, the palm will be facing the left side, just like your face. And then place that palm on the floor in front of your face. Press into the arm, reach up. And release. Good, we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So just pressing into the right arm, sweeping up the left arm. Palm is facing the left side. And then thread the needle right behind your right wrist, resting on the side of the face and the shoulder. And then taking your right arm back and see if you can reach around and touch a little bit of your left thigh. Press into the feet, press into the knees, keep the hips even. This is happening only in your thoracic spine. And then release the right arm up toward the ceiling. Palm is facing the right side. And then place the right palm in front of your face. Stack the elbow on top and press in and reopen. Good. And then both arms down. Great. And then walk yourself back onto your knees for just a moment. So from here, I want us to think for a moment. Keep your toes under. And this is a very modified camel. We're not going to go back into camel, although you are welcome to do so if it feels comfortable and you feel good right now. But I want you to look at my spine. You can see now my thoracic curve. Here's my lumbar curve. Here's my cervical curve, which is not really so much a curve as the head makes, the skull makes it look like a curve. And then this part of the spine goes in the opposite direction. Okay, so it's our lumbar curve, cervical, thoracic curve, cervical curve. So when we're back bending here, anytime we're up and we're back bending, we're taking and building on our lumbar curve by curving into our thoracic. We don't want to just lay T12 on that curve. We want to spread those pearls through every single vertebra, okay? So we're not going to go back and hold our heels or anything. We're going to take our hands and put them right in our low back, right underneath your kidneys. Your palms are just underneath your kidneys. You'll have your low ribs underneath the top of your palm. Good. And then pull your belly in, lift the pelvic floor. And then slowly, just like pearls, begin to take some back bending into the thoracic spine. Your gaze can be front and forward. You don't have to take the head back. The chin can even stay in. It's really just working in the thoracic. And then on your next exhale, come back to neutral. Do that 2 more times. Inhale. Hold the breath in and just lean back. And exhale, release the breath and the pose. One more time, inhale. Gives you something to lean back on with those full lungs. You can tuck the chin into the chest. Good. Okay. Excellent. Now just rest onto your heels for a second. Just be there. And then if it's comfortable for you, we're going to put our feet down onto the floor for a moment. So just rolling out the feet, hips back to the heels. If that's not comfortable, just slide a block in between your ankles. Okay. Otherwise, just putting the body weight down into the heels. Good. One more breath. Just let the body sink down, resting. And then come up, all the way back up just to kneeling. Great. And we're going to take our right leg out in front. Good. So right leg is out in front at a right angle to our body. Good. And from here, take your hands back behind you, interlace, and squeeze. Opening your heart and your chest and your sternum just as much as is comfortable. Try to feel that your belly button is connected to your left knee, that all is making one solid, stable spot. And then release. Good. Release that leg. Let's take the left leg out in front. Make a right angle. Find yourself at a right angle. Knee is right over the ankle. Good. So you have that long line, no back bend yet. And then arms back behind and just adding a little bit of a back bend. You can tuck the chin into the chest. It's really what's happening in the spine, not so much in the top of our neck that we're playing with. And release. Good. And then we're going to just make our way to standing. So however you want to come up, all the way to standing. Great. Just finding yourself nice and solid in Tadasana. Great. So just breathing for a moment, noticing the difference in the gravity. Lift your toes, balance completely front, back, side, side onto the feet, rooting down through Mother Earth so that we can rise up into Father Sky. Okay? Then release your toes. Good. And now let's work with our arms for a moment. So again, arms coming up overhead. Hold on to your right wrist and lean to the left. And come back. And then hold on to your left wrist and lean to the right. And come back. And then holding on again to both hands. Squeezing and opening the sternum. Go ahead and keep your chin tucked into your chest, just squeezing and opening the sternum. And release. Good. Okay. So just noticing your lumbar curve, just feeling how it feels right now. Hopefully it's feeling fine and stable. Okay. So we're going to do it two ways. We're going to go to the back of our mat and step forward. So we're going to stay there for a while and I'll let you step forward to actually get out of it. So step as far as is comfortable for you. Just take a nice inhale. Let's go ahead and take our right leg forward so I can have that leg forward to show you. Okay. Right leg forward. Knee is right over the ankle. Left heel is up. Left heel is up. Hips are square to the short end of your mat. Good. So to start with, press through the left heel a lot. Lift the belly, lift the pelvic floor, and then take your hands back behind you, interlace and open your heart. Good. Keep your chin tucked in for a moment if you'd like. And then slowly release the arms, and we're going to just gently bring them up. You can always go down to your left knee. And then straighten both legs. Lift up toward the ceiling. Take an inhale and exhale to the top of your mat. Great. Okay. And then let's go back. All righty. So now we're at the back of the mat again. We're going to step forward with our left foot this time. And we can always go down to our knee, right? That can keep it a lot easier. You can go down to your knees right now and just pull that left foot forward, just like we did the first time, all right? Taking an inhale and exhale, left foot forward. Good. Knee stacked right over the ankle. Good. Right heel is up. Find your sense of balance. Good. Once you've found your sense of balance and your hips are square to the short end of your mat, take your hands and arms back behind, interlace, and squeeze as you slowly start to let some of the pearls head back. You can always keep your chin tucked in. And then as you're ready, letting the arms float forward and then up. And as I said, you can keep the chin tucked in or the chin can rise. Don't lose your neck. As you take an inhale, begin to straighten the left leg. And then exhale forward. Good. And then let's find our Tadasana. Again, just finding your Tadasana. Rest the body. Send any breath wherever you might have any tightness. A tight muscle will get us where we need to go, but then it's uncomfortable. So we want to work on strengthening the muscles, creating more flexibility. Good. And then inhale, letting your eyes flutter open. And then we're going to go to the top of our mat. Okay? And we're going to just put this into a little tiny vinyasa. Vinyasa just means choreographed movement, part of a sun salute. Okay? We won't do the whole of everything. But bringing the hands into the heart. Anjaynayasana. Take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, letting the arms float down. And then inhale, arms floating up overhead. And as you exhale, begin to come forward. Just very briefly into Tadasana. So if you're not inverted, you're not going to stay long. Inhale, look forward. And exhale, left leg back into a lunge. And right here, you can drop to the knee if you'd like. That's absolutely fine. I'll drop down for this side, okay? And then as you're ready, begin to sweep the arms up. We're looking for opening those pearls. So you can let the arms move first. And then floating back down. Good. Let's step to plank. Nice long line of energy. And then if you were on your knees, go ahead and drop the left one down. Bring the right leg forward. You can stay there. You can also be up, wherever you are, you're most comfortable. We're focusing on our back, not just the leg strength. Okay? And then gently begin to sweep the arms. Pull in your belly, pull in your pelvic floor. And exhale, release. Come off the back knee if you're there. Inhale, a little hop to the front, long spine. Exhale, fold, and inhale. Arms to the sides, coming up. All the way up, and exhale, hands into Anjali. Good. Finding your Tadasana and taking a few gentle breaths. Go ahead and step your feet a little bit apart, just a little bit apart. Knees and toes in the same direction. So if you're more comfortable slew-footed, just whatever gives you a little bit more base, a little bit more stability. Relax your pelvic floor. Relax your belly. Just melt into the floor for a moment from standing. Everything heavy. Let your breath be shallow, just enough to sustain you. No big breathing. Try to even it out. Good. And then we're going to come down into a neutral toe balance first, okay? So you're going to come down and come up onto the ball of your feet, resting your hands on your thighs or at your heart or right in front. Find your lumbar curve, poke your bottom out a little. Pull in your belly, lift the pelvic floor. And then wherever you have your hands, put them on your thighs for a moment. Good. And then reach between your thighs, so down in between your thighs. And then begin to open your legs and take the feet in the same direction as your knees. So feet are in the same direction. Walk yourself forward and try to go down into your heels. So just playing with that. So you're counterbalancing by walking forward. So as you start to come down onto your heels, you walk forward a little bit, lengthening the upper spine. Just breathing. And then walk your hands back behind you. Let them act as a support for you as you begin to lower down to the floor. Good. Sitting in staff pose, Dandasana. Feet are flexed back towards you. You're on your sit bones. You may need to move some flesh back behind you. Nice and tall. Lift the pelvic floor. Belly is in. Everything is in. Heels are not touching. Heels are right underneath your second and third toe. Good. And then go ahead and bring in the left foot, put it to the thigh, open the left leg out to the side. Great. So as we slowly walk into this pose, we're only going to go a little bit today. We're not going to try and even think about our max. We're just walking that little bit out toward Janu Shirshasana. But we're not curling. We're just being there for a moment. Your face is facing your knee. Breathing. Relax the left leg along the floor or a block. If your knee is not down on the floor, put a block underneath it so the whole of the inner groin can relax. See if you can sink in a tiny bit more, just a micro movement. And then walk your hands back to get you up, not relying on your paraspinals. And then release the left leg. Nice and tall. And then right leg coming in. Open up the leg. If you need, if it's not on the floor, put something under it so the whole inner leg can relax. It needs support. It needs something underneath it. Tall spine, and then gently just beginning to walk out a little. Let your spine curve. So it's the opposite of a back bend. It's just letting it curve, but you're not continuing to curl all the way through. Keep your left foot flexed. Do not lock the knee or press the knee down into the floor. Just let the knee be soft. Breathe. See if you can go just a little bit more, just a little bit more surrender, micro movement. And then walking your hands up, just come up slowly. Hands come back, the arms are doing the work. Good. And then both legs out into Dandasana. Good. And then take your legs into a comfortable seated position, just for a moment. Comfortable seated position. Take a little twist over to the left side. Belly button down is not moving. Come back. A little twist over to the right side. And not good. And then we're going to come down to the floor and hopefully take an inversion if that's appropriate for you today. So if you have uncontrolled high blood pressure, glaucoma, if you're on the menstrual cycle, this is not for you. You're just going to lay down, keep your hips on the floor, and put your feet up the wall. That is fine for everybody. And if you have high blood pressure, maybe a little lower with your feet, okay? But if you don't, then you're going to either grab a block or whatever you'd like and find yourself in Viparita Karni Mudra. You can always lift with your hands is a pike shoulder stand. So if you're inverting, finding your inversion. If you're not inverting, hips are on the floor and legs are up the wall. So wherever that is for you, you're going to just spend 2 full minutes. Relax your jaw. Relax your face. Relax your legs. Let them just be in the sockets. And then slowly making your way into Shavasana. So you can drop your knees in a little bit, laying 1 foot at a time, find the floor. Coming out of the pose as easily as you can, and then finding corpse pose. Not feeling trapped by your mat or your blanket, just letting yourself feel like a starfish, opening wide. Palms facing the ceiling and always below the heart. If you have on glasses, this is the perfect time to take them off and rest even the bridge of the nose. What can you release to the floor? Just letting gravity take its toll. Sinking into the floor. Slowly and gently, bringing your awareness into the breath, finding it in the belly or the chest, the rise, the fall. Letting the breath deepen just a little. And then from right here where you are, let's take a few abdominal breaths, just resting both hands gently on your belly. And as you inhale, pull the breath down into the diaphragm, pushing out the belly. And as you exhale, the belly folds back in. Inhale, diaphragm pushes the organs out of the way, belly expands toward the ceiling. And exhale, belly folds back in. 3 more. And then gently letting your eyes begin to roll in the sockets in one direction and the other. Letting your tongue roam the mouth. Wiggling your nose and your ears, opening the mouth wide as if you were yawning. And then slowly beginning to rock from side to side until you rock over onto one side into embryo pose. Lift your hips, shift them to the other side, rock over, curling up in embryo. And then take the hand of the upper arm and just place it in front of your face. Tuck your chin into your chest and leave it there until you begin to spiral up, press up. And once you're almost up, just stack the head on top of the spine. Just stacking it there. Letting yourself recalibrate. Body, breath, mind. As we move into our section of pranayama and meditation, get what you're going to need for your meditation so that you're not moving around a lot once you get settled. Good. Just find yourself with your spine tall and your seat comfortable. I'm sitting on a pillow. You might have a blanket folded underneath your sit bones. You might be sitting on a block or two. Hanuman, the monkey, is the Lord of the wind. He is all over the place. So we want to settle ourselves back in. Anjaynaya, his mom, was constantly doing that with him when he was growing up. He has a broken jaw, which means Hanuman, because he thought the sun was an orange and he went up and he grabbed it, and Indra, the god of thunder, sent him back down to the earth and broke his jaw. So we're going to try to control that wind, that pran, for just a moment. And we're going to just do it simply with a counted breath. We're going to inhale 4 and exhale 6. We'll do that for 6 times. And then we're going to try to inhale 6 and exhale 8. Okay? So we're just going to play with it for a little while. All right? And your breath is going to change from my breath, and it doesn't really matter. It's all good. Just maybe use your fingers and count your 6 breaths of doing it with a count of 4 and then 6 on the exhale. And then we'll try to do the next count. Okay? So tall spine. It can be a chest breath. Your belly can stay stable. Doesn't have to be a full yogic breath. That's fine. We're just controlling the breath. So exhaling the breath all the way out. belly to spine, and then let's move it into the chest as we inhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep going at your own pace. 5 more. Okay, relaxing that one, just letting it go for a minute. No control. And now we're going to move into exhaling 8 and inhaling 6. And let's start with the exhale. It makes it a little bit easier. We'll still do. Okay. Exhale the breath out. Inhale 6. Slight pause. Exhale 8. Keep going. 5 more. If it's too much of a strain, go back to the other count. Just keep it solid. Keep it stable. And then fall back into your natural breathing pattern. Just fall back in. Let the breath become soft and shallow and just enough to sustain you. And today, letting our meditation be about liberation, removing the obstacles that are in our path. We'll hold on to the mantra, Om Gang. Om on the inhale, Gang on the exhale. Gang is the seed syllable for Ganesh, who removes all obstacles. Om on the inhale, Gang on the exhale. Just letting yourself move into a very simple, uncontrolled breath. Not controlling it with the mantra, but letting the mantra describe the breath. Om Gang. Om Gang. All of the ambient sounds, whether my voice, the traffic, the sounds in your house, all just help you to sink into a little bit deeper state of relaxation. Sound, space, surrender. Om Gang. 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 beginning to release the mantra slowly, gently, letting it drift away, bringing your awareness into your body, your breath. Just sitting for a few more moments with the eyes closed softly. And then using an inhaled breath to flutter the eyes open gently. Softening into the body, to the mind, to the senses, to the soul. Bringing the hands into the heart, Anjali Mudra. And taking a moment and remembering your intention. What did you intend for your personal transformation today? What did you put out into the universe? Just ponder it for a moment. And then thinking of someone or something to which you would like to dedicate your practice. Just bring that thing or that person into your mind, into your heart. Send them loving energy, send it loving energy. Any merit we may have earned this morning in our very diligent practice of yoga, we lift it up to the welfare of all sentient beings. Letting those thoughts slip out of your mind, down into your heart, and from your heart symbolically out into the palms of your hands, and then lift them up and just let them go off into the universe, bringing the hands gently back into the heart. Hari Om Tat Sat. Namaste. I'm coming to you. But before anybody leaves the room today, I just want to say thank you for those who have been supporting me on PayPal, because sometimes you go and I don't get a chance to thank you. So I really, truly appreciate the support you give for the classes, and as does the guy who I share with for doing all of the video uploading and everything. So if you're leaving, God go with you, but just know I appreciate you. Okay, here I am coming on my way. Let me fix it so you can talk. Okay, everybody can talk, and I will remove the spotlight and I will put it on gallery view so I've got you all. Great. Okay. Welcome to class, everyone. Thanks for coming. Nice to see you. Glad you're here. Ah, what a beautiful day we have here. Thank you, Jean. Appreciate you. Yeah. Okay. The other Jean too. The other Jean is saying adios, and this Jean just turned on her video. Okay, nice to see folks, and welcome anybody who is new. We're glad to have you here. Any questions about the practice today? Any questions about how's your back? Is everybody's back okay? Did you feel well prepared? How's your string of pearls? Good, good. Thanks, Tina. I'm glad.
In the beginning, I was like, I just woke up from bed, so everything felt super stiff, and I was like, oh, I don't think I can do by any means a back bend right now. But it went super smoothly. Yeah.
Good, good. You know, I think we always want to break it down to the smallest denominator of like what brings that posture into its space, you know. And my back bending now at 70 certainly isn't like my back bending was at 50 even, or let alone, you know, 20. But it's still that string of pearls that has to continue. And a lot of times here's a lumbar curve and here's the cervical curve, and people just kind of create a shelf, bunk, nothing happens. This string of pearls doesn't move. It just goes, and then you put a lot of pressure at T12, and you get a whole. A chiropractor will call it, and you form a shelf, right? Because there's no real back bending in throughout the vertebra. You just leaned back into T12, and often that's the one that people have to have fused because they do a lot of damage to it. So it's learning to take that whole thing and just stack one pearl on top of the other, right? And take the whole thing, like it starts like this, but from that string, you know, like start the whole thing and take it back so that it adds on to your lumbar curve and not in opposition. You know, there's never any opposition to it. So, and I think Anjanaya, the lunge can be so beautiful. I mean, beautiful. It feels beautiful. I don't necessarily know how it looks, but it feels so beautiful to be just so open, and that heart open, you know, just like a mom. And she is Hanuman's mom. And just that openness that's created in the heart space. I think that's super, you know, super great, super important. Yeah. Yeah, any comments? In the pranayama, I just wanted to be simple. Hanuman is the you know, god of the wind, and he's jumping around all over the place. So it was not a day to do different pranayams, because that's kind of like the part of Hanuman. We want him just to settle in, settle down. So his mom would, I'm sure, would always just say, "Come on, honey, so let's go have an orange that I picked rather than the sun god tried to give you." You know, yeah. And what about the meditation on Om Gam? Was that okay for folks? You know, Ganesh is that little elephant-headed boy. He's a toddler because his mom Parvati and his dad Shiv. I think Parvati's his mom. I may have his mom's name wrong, but Shiva had gone on a expedition of something. You know, he was a warrior. He went to his campaign or whatever you call it, and when he came back, there was this little boy guarding the gate, and he took his sword and lopped off his head because he wasn't supposed to be there. And she came running and said, "You better fix this." And he ran off and came back with a baby elephant head, which is a sad story because the baby elephant also lost its head. But he put the head on the little boy, and so Ganesh represents removing all obstacles and letting all things be possible. So you get these little fat, chubby toddler legs and toddler everything, and then that little elephant head. I think he's such a sweet being when you see him. Very tender, you know. And Hanuman, when you see him, is like da da da. They're very different. Yeah, very, very different. Okay. Anything about anything today that you want to bring up? We had a sutra class last night where we were listening to sound and but we were reading about the power that comes when you do samyam on akash or ether, and the tanmatra that goes with it, shabda, sound. And I think one of our group actually heard a noise she doesn't normally hear. So, so just like letting the power of yoga surprise you constantly. You know, just what is there, what's possible there.
Kamalesh, I was thinking today that I'm curious the way you do cat cow, which is not like the typical, you
Mhm.
reach the breath in neutral. And I wanted to know if you can, I'm curious about that.
So what happens when we do somatics class, when we're using our somatic, trying to retrain the brain, with the whole neuromuscular messaging that happens, you know, and we're trying to retrain the brain, your force goes better with your exhale breath, and your relaxing comes back into your inhale breath. It's like like you exhale, and then a nice inhale, right? So it's working at it more at a somatic level for us to use the power for the movement and then relax back into neutral. And then power for the movement and relax back into neutral. And I still teach it occasionally. I mean, when I'm teaching, I'll do inhale and exhale, but I always like people to explore the one that's opposite of them, because sometimes they need to exhale on the other one where they have more power. And sometimes they're exhaling where you're pulling the belly up. Well, yeah, that's easy to do. And that's natural, and you exhale and you put it up. But sometimes when they drop it down, they drop the belly and they compromise their low back, right? They just let it go when they inhale. And that shouldn't happen either. So I think like exhaling and being aware in both of the positions and just always finding neutral in the middle, it's more of a somatic movement. It's not necessarily, the way that we've traditionally taught cat pose, but I think it requires you to really think about, how is my abdomen reacting? If you exhale in both of those, I feel like you really pull in your belly. And then when you're back there and your belly is down, you still supported your low back because you've pulled in your belly. There's nothing in that area. I don't know if that helps, Sylvia. Yeah. Any other questions or anything? Yes, Jonna.
When we're doing the pose, you just named it. I can't remember what you said, but when we're in the lunge and opening up, what is that called? We're lunging forward on our knee.
Like
his mother's name.
Anjaynayasana.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised in that moment. I suddenly felt like the possibilities for today, and like it went along with my intention of hope. Yeah, and it felt like this brightness all of a sudden. That surprised me.
That's why I love Hanuman's mom. That's her name, Anjanaya, right? That's why at Mount Madonna we have Anjanaya's Cafe. It's Hanuman's Cafe, his mom's cafe. And I think that whole, like, a mom has to just be ready for you to break her heart at any moment in time, right? And that openness and that hope, like you say, and just that putting yourself out there and being willing, and it's the backbend is also a surrender. We don't often think of it because we're powering into it, but it's really a surrender. You're giving your heart to someone or something, right? So I think it's beautiful. Yeah. Thanks.
And also, I have a little elephant head on my sweatshirt. That goes along well with the practice.
Yes, you have Ganesh there. Nice. Very nice. Okay, well, I have a meeting at 9:30. Cam's in there with me, so he's going to actually open it so I can go down and bring my breakfast back up and eat it in front of them. So it's so nice to see you, and I'll see you on Tuesday, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, and we'll see what we'll play with then, okay? Everyone have a wonderful weekend. Much love. Really appreciate you. Ciao, ciao.